Can you guess where we are today? Of course, we're at Titlow Beach Park, and there's a train. Luckily, boom, we've got the caboose, so it looks like we get to go do some water sampling. So, hi everyone. I'm gonna let these ding ding dings kind of stop. This is Stina here, excited to take you out to Titlow Beach Park today for a little water collection. It is a Blue Water Task Force day, and that means there are all sorts of lovely volunteers out and about going to local recreation sites to collect some water samples to test for fecal coliform. And this is something that Harbor Wild Watch does in partnership with the South Sound Surfrider team. Surfrider is a rad group who is all about the protection and enjoyment of these local beaches, right? So if we can't play in this beautiful water, what are we doing here? So for those of you tuning in, feel free to let me know if you have any questions as we go along. And of course, like, where are you tuning in from? It's nice to know. Is it sunny and beautiful where you're tuning in from, or are you enjoying a Pacific Northwest gray day also? Of course this is backwards because yay, front facing cameras, but this is the program. Again, we're out at Titlow Beach Park today. We have 11 different sites with the Surfrider team, and they get us out on the beach and monitoring water quality. So what we're going to do is pop down and grab a water sample, which my vision, of course, was to do a little beach walk, but you know, you can't control the tides, and when the tide is high, you don't get to see a lot of stuff on the beach. So it's going to be a really easy beach walk. I am a little surprised looking out, like, where are all the pumpkins? Usually October means it's pumpkin time on the pilings here at Titlow Beach Park, but maybe we'll see them next month. Hi from our Fox Island friends. You can see the Tacoma Narrows Bridge here, giving us a nice sense of place. That, of course, connects Tacoma over to the Key Peninsula. Harbor Wild Watch stationed in Gig Harbor. Can come say hi. Oh, we got Mary tuning in. Love it. Well, hey, howdy from across the bridge. You know how I know people play on this beach? Oh no, there's a lost toy. Poor Woody. But yeah, this is a popular site. I know Rachel and I like to come here and look at the seaweed. Lots of people will paddle out here. I personally love scuba diving around these pilings. And so something about the Blue Water Task Force program is we recognize that people like to play in the Puget Sound year-round. And the Washington State Department of Ecology does water testing kind of weekly throughout the summer months. But because we still like to play in the water, even when it's cold out, this form of community science steps in to take samples once a month and look at fecal coliform in the water, because we still want to have a safe place to play and nobody wants to swim in poo. Of course, these samples are just a moment in time, so while you can look at the results online, I'll shoot a link to that in the comments here, or at the end of the video once it's posted. And so you can see, you know, a moment in time snapshot of how our beaches are doing, and kind of those data points over time can give you an idea, like, okay, I'm happy to put my face in the water here at Titlow Beach Park. Maybe I don't want to go scuba diving in the Foss Waterway. That tends to be one of our sites with high levels of bacteria, unfortunately. But that's why we're out here collecting samples. Again, we have 11 different sites. I guess technically 10 at the moment, because access to Owen Beach is closed while they're redoing that park. But yeah, it's a pretty cool program, and it's made possible by all the fabulous volunteers who dedicate an afternoon of time and mileage to go out to the beach, collect a sample, and then deliver it to the Science and Math Institute over at Point Defiance Park. So essentially, if I were to take a hike around this shoreline and curb over to the beautiful Point Defiance Park over there, There's a rad school that lets us use their lab space, and we're able to incubate our samples and see if there's bacteria. And I'm stoked because we get to work with a student today, and they're going to help me do some of that lab work. So if you or anyone you know are interested in coming and doing some sampling on Tuesdays through June, let me know, because I have some opportunities for you. But as promised, we'll do a little bit of a beach walk before I collect this sample. I don't think I can do that with a phone in my hand, so we're just going to take a look at this lovely gull. I notice that it has the black tips on its wings. It has a little mark on its bill. Kind of has that gray mottling, so you're a juvenile, almost in adult phase. The legs are kind of that pale, almost gray-blue color, which makes me think, are you a ringbill? Are you probably not a herring gull, but maybe. I know they have the black tip. I can tell you it's not a glaucous wing gull because it's not that solid gray color, and it doesn't have pink legs. Turns out there's a lot of gull species. And saying seagull isn't very descriptive because I guess there's no such thing as a seagull, but indeed multiple species of different gulls. So we'll have to do some bird looking. There's another gull on that piling. Another bird I'm noticing, since again the tide is high, so there's not a lot of intertidal life to look at, but those blackbirds, those are cormorants. I'm not seeing the white patch on their underside, so I know they're not a pelagic cormorant, but likely the double-crested cormorant that we have in this area. Kind of looking out to see, oh, taking off, woohoo! Cormorants are really cool because they're a diving bird. They hunt for fish in the water, and so their adaptation is to have less oil in their feathers, and so they'll be able to dive really deep to go hunting for those fish. And I'm trying to scan across. It'd be nice if one of them was showing you their technique for drying off their feathers. Okay, the one far, far back there. I caught a fish this big! Okay, maybe not that big. They're going for the tinier stuff. They have little beaks. But they extend their wings like that in order to dry out between fishing sessions, I guess. Thanks, Cormorant, for... Oh, where'd you go? There you are. Showing off that wingspan. Awesome. And then, of course, I'm at a weird angle. Those letters do say Tacoma. So if you needed some more sense of place and screeching seagulls, unscramble those. You're good to go. All right. Okay, I am seeing a little bit of sea life that we can talk about before I collect this water sample. And that is the ever so underappreciated barnacle. A lot of these, well, half of them are dead. The way you can tell whether a barnacle is alive or dead is looking in the inside. So if it looks like a volcano, you know that barnacle is not alive. Whereas if those plates are tightly in place, I know this is a living barnacle that's waiting for the tide to come back in so it can open these little plates on the top and stick out its feeding feet. And these barnacles will use those feet to scoop through the water, collecting plankton. If you want to have the barnacle challenge, you can always try and do a headstand because barnacles glue their head to the rock to build their shell around them. And then from that headstand, you can use your feet to eat your potato chips. And blammo, you're a barnacle. Pretty cool. Also in this little corner, I'm noticing examples of all three algae types. We have red, green, and brown algae here. The green is the easiest to tell apart because it's usually a nice green color. This is some very fuzzy looking ulva, or sea lettuce, kind of all over this rock. Here's some more leafy version. You can really see the lettuce-likeness of this algae. And then of course, red algae, which this one actually looks a little bit red, which is surprising because normally red algae looks brown, but sometimes it looks green and it's just confusing. But the way I like to tell it apart from other seaweeds is if I stretch it. Notice there's kind of that rubber bandy boing. Doing, 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 doing. Boom. That's my clue that this is a red algae variety. And this is laver, also known as porphyra. It's the stuff that nori is made out of. So if you like eating sushi, you are a big fan of this seaweed. How about that? So that's pretty cool. And whoever my Harbor Wild Watch tech person is tuning in to say Happy World Algae Day. Oh my gosh, is that a thing? How did I not know? What? Happy World Algae Day, friends. And then I'm seeing tiny little examples, but there's more over here and even more over there. Let's look at this one. This is rockweed, and this is a brown algae, even though it looks green or kind of yellowy. Again, color is not a great way to tell these apart, but if I stretch it, it is not boingy like the red. But this is fucus or rockweed, also sometimes called popweed. You notice these little bladders. It's filled with a gas and kind of a gooey, almost aloe vera-like substance, and that helps the seaweed float. You can also kind of use it as, yeah, just like aloe vera on a sunburn. Get that nice evaporative cooling going on. Of course, I only like to do that with algae that's not attached to a rock. I'll find it up in the rack line or where the seaweed is stranded from a high tide, rather than trying to pick it. Collecting algae requires a shellfish permit, or a sign, yeah. So you can't just go willy-nilly collecting algae. So it's nice to leave the stuff attached where you find it. Okay. We have a big seaweed post coming. I am stoked for that. Thanks friend Harbor Wild. I'm assuming this is Rachel tuning in. Thanks, Rachel. Yeah, so again, we're out here at Titlow Beach Park. Gonna collect a water sample for analysis of fecal coliform here in Tacoma and around. Oh, okay, I saw this. It's a feather. I thought it was gonna be a cool worm. Whoop whoop. But in addition, there is a little snail here. I'm gonna see if I can zoom in nicely. This is called a checkered periwinkle, and this snail is doing a great job of demonstrating why we'd call it a checkered periwinkle. It has a nice checkerboard pattern on its spiral shell. And if you look closely, you can see its little tiny antenna sticking out. I think it just winked at all of you, saying, hey, happy seaweed day. This little cutie over here was just spinning around a little bit, showing us its dance moves. Womp, 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 womp. Oh yeah, look at those antennas. These are snails that are algae eaters, so they're an herbivore, chomping around. Cheers to April for your seaweed and seagrass presentation. Way to go. If you can send us a link, we'd love to see it. That'd be cool. But yeah, these little snails are high intertidal species. There's a couple other snail species that will live a lot lower in the intertidal zone. So when the tide goes out, like, you can walk straight through these pilings, not quite out to where those pilings are in the far distance, but definitely to, like, past these seagulls here. Maybe past those ones. So there's about 12 feet of water height difference that lets you explore some lower places. And as you get further out and deeper underwater, of course, when the tide is low, you don't have to be underwater, which is really convenient, but you'll see different species of snails, like the dove snails, or one called a lacuna that is very similar to these checkered periwinkles, but has kind of a more squat round shell than these kind of more elongated shells. There's another animal I noticed And that is the lovely limpet here. This is a cap-shelled snail that sticks to rocks, another algae eater, using its focus phone. But they use their chainsaw-like tongue to lick algae off of rocks. Nom 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 nom. They're pretty cool. I love there's a species called the keyhole limpet, and they are so cute. They get a lot bigger than some of the limpets I usually see kind of in this high intertidal zone. And that bigger size lets you really appreciate the limpet face, which Rachel can attest. Like, if you want to get Rachel's attention, just show her the lovely little mug of a limpet and she'll lose her mind. We love limpet faces, but especially Rachel. So, cheers to that. Yeah, Cassie, you definitely called it. There is always a train at Titlow Beach Park. Never ceases to catch me, either trying to get here, trying to go, or, you know, sometimes both. But so far so good. We're just getting a lot of plane noise instead of train noise in our video today. But yeah, yay limpet faces. I'm gonna do a little peek around this rock, see if we can find one more cool thing to talk about, and then, oh, here's a cool thing. All right, starting. Oh, well, it was almost a full, complete specimen, but speaking of World Algae Day, this rope-like thing, woohoo, oh my gosh, this is like the perfect jump rope, but this is a piece of bull kelp that has broken off. You can see there's no longer the hold fast, aka kind of like the root system that would hold it in place. It's not actually roots because it doesn't transfer nutrients up the stipe. So the stipe is this big long thing that we're gonna follow all the way around. You can see, oh my gosh, this is so long. This is at least 4 stinas long, maybe 5 stinas because it keeps going, and boom, here's the bulb. So this bull kelp is filled with gas. Believe it or not, that gas is carbon monoxide. It has been told to me that you know, full-grown bull kelp like this would have enough carbon monoxide inside of it to kill a chicken. Who did that research? I don't know. I love chickens. Sorry, chickens. I hope no chickens were harmed in that process. But from the stipe, there's these blades. You can see, again, why algae is confusing. Look at this nice green color on our brown algae. Not confusing at all. Just kidding. It's totally confusing. So if you're like, I don't know if it's brown, red, or green, it's okay. You'll figure it out someday. And if you don't, that's okay too. But these blades, again, more photosynthetic material. I'm kind of peeking around to see, yeah, we can have a sorry patch. So this is the reproductive, this little patch here is the reproductive part of our bull kelp, which is cool to see. I guess a bummer to see this one washed up, because I think you're out of luck for spreading your genes here, friend. This is a species that grows back every year, and I always have such a hard time kind of remembering what the difference between perennial and annual is, but whatever version sticks around, it's not that one. It has seasons, so it will grow for a season, die back, and then be replaced the next season. And so that's kind of how that does. And this is a very important species in the Puget Sound, and lucky for this location, boom bada boom, the Narrows is one of the few places in the South Salish Sea that bull kelp is actually doing well. A lot of bull kelp in the Puget Sound is on the decline, and so that's definitely problematic, because this cool organism here is like the forest of the sea, and so it provides lots of habitat as well as food, as well as habitat, food, and probably something else. Structure, I don't know. There's a word I'm looking for and it's not coming to me, but that's okay, because bull kelp is awesome. It's got me speechless. But really cool algae. Not a plant. The only true plant in the Puget Sound is that seagrass. Just sounds like our friend April did a project on. Algae are in their own kingdom of life, which is pretty rad and worthy of celebration on what I just recently learned is World Algae Day. So, hooray to that. Love your brown algae. Love your green algae. Love your red algae. And with that, I think, unless there's any further questions. Oh, Mary's coming in clutch with the annual just lasts the season. Perennial. It keeps going. Annual. One time. Boom. Okay. Bull kelp is an annual species. Thanks, Mary, for coming in on my word struggles here today. But again, while it might not be sunny and blue skies, it is still kind of a nice day to be out and about, and we hope that you're enjoying wherever you are in the world. Thank you for tuning in and watching a little low tide walk as we come out to collect our monthly water sample. Again, we're going to get these to the lab, and those will be analyzed, and we'll have results sometime this week, and they'll be published on the Blue Water Task Force water quality results page that I will link in this the comments of this video, as well as I feel like if we don't already have it as a tab in our website, we'll link you up with that too. But cheers to all the volunteers who are out and about on different beaches collecting water samples. I'm getting the Titlow Beach sample, but we have, 11 other sites out there. So take a look at that. Again, community science can't be done without the community, so I'm super thankful to all those folks out there, and super excited to get some students involved with the water sampling side of things. So with that, thank you all so much for tuning in and learning and having fun. So happy World Algae Day, and we'll catch you later.